Doug, wouldn't expect you to share all the details, but I guess you did meet with the players. Maybe you can just tell us the tone of how it went.
Well, what's said in this room stays in this room. You know, from our organization and to our fans, this is not a nick or a scratch. I mean, this is an open wound, and the emotions are raw, and the disappointment runs deep and should resonate and live for a long time. We have already started in process what decisions we're going to make.
Is this team getting a reputation as an underachieving team?
We didn't get it done. Performance speaks. There's no sugarcoating it. When you're up 3-0 in a series, you step on their throat and put them away. They came back and were able to buy in and establish their game for 4 games. We played it for 3. It's not good enough, and that's the truth.
Your sense of why that might have happened?
Well, with all due respect to James Shepard and Matty Irwin, they can't be your only goal scorers the last 3 games. You can't go 0 for 16 in your power play. That's the way it is. You know, we got beat by a good hockey team, 100-point team that's won a cup, and they reestablished their game. And we all take responsibility. And this one should hurt, and I feel for our fans and our organization that should not have happened. It did, and we will make some decisions going forward. There's a couple of options. Status quo is not one of them.
Have any decisions been made yet about the future?
The decisions, the process has started. Whatever options, and it's not too complicated, fairly easy to figure out. Our coaching staff is part of that, and they will be, my recommendations includes our coaching staff being part of this going forward.
What's a timeline on that, or is there even one?
Probably 10 days to 2 weeks. Obviously, with our ownership group being the first to be told, and certain players, that'll be the process. Make mistakes by having emotions run the day, but while you may have a heart, the right decisions will be made with the head for what's right for this organization.
Have you talked to Hasso Plattner, and what were his feelings about the loss?
Hasso is at all the games very passionate. I've purposely not talked to Hasso because the meetings I need to take place and the recommendation needs to be presented to him with the right process being followed. You know, Hasso is, we're very fortunate to have him as an owner. We're very, very fortunate, and he should be extremely disappointed.
Did this team get too comfortable after a 3-0 start?
Talk to me in 2 weeks. The players will have their opportunity to speak and give their opinion, as will the coaches. I certainly hope that's not the case, because when you're playing in this league in the Western Conference with teams like that, that would be extremely problematic if that's an issue.
Was Game 5 a complete head-scratcher for you?
I wouldn't use the term head-scratcher. I'd use more severe terms.
Going forward, what's the team going to need to get past an LA Kings?
To perform. And you take a look at teams of, there's other teams that have gone through what we've gone through. A few years ago, we did it in Detroit. We won Game 7, but the damage is already done. You go on your next series, you've already drained your tank. Buying into how you need to play that's the only way you win in this league. Look at the Olympics and how the Canadian team did. They played the way a team needed to be played. People left their egos at the door. They didn't, under stress and fatigue, go back to their old game to play their own style. It's not complex what wins in this business, and we'll get to the bottom of it.
You talked about obviously the disappointment. If you need to guard against overreaction to these 4 games, how do you weigh what goes on in these last 4 games versus what you have built here?
Well, you have to balance it all. That's why emotions. That's why the process is taking some time. But the hurt on this one, it resonates so deep, and I don't think it should go away, and I don't want it to go away for anybody. And because getting it done and addressing it will be done on the ice, and lip service is a waste of time.
You realize fans, media won't let it go away.
They shouldn't. They shouldn't. The relationship with your fan base runs so deep, and especially the fan base that we have. And that's what you want. That's what's unique and great about this game. That's why this hurts so bad. And we will make the decisions to make it right. But it can't be done in 24 hours and shouldn't be done in 24 hours.
Doug, how come the top guys couldn't get it done late in the series?
We will dig into that really deep. No chance of ever using injuries as an excuse, because I guarantee if they're out, they got guys having surgeries and stuff like that. So don't let that creep in anywhere. You know, people talk about, you know, guys being good guys. You know, Jonathan Toews is a good guy. Anze Kopitar is a good guy. It's about performing up to your capability when it's on the line, and we will get into that with different people, and we will make decisions accordingly.
Considering existing contracts, then when you look at the roster, do you feel you have the flexibility to do what's going to need to be done here?
We have flexibility because of a plan we started last year, and the decisions, as I say, that'll be made are the guys that play the way we need to play. You know, we have younger players that have really experienced certain things, have stepped up, and some of our best players were some of our youngest guys. So you're not starting from scratch, where you have key young players in key young positions. And when we decide the decision we're going to make, it's not one of these 6 or 7 year things because of what we started last year prior to the trade deadline.
Yes. Doug, were you a little frustrated that you couldn't make more of a dent at the deadline?
No, no, because we made a decision, and when you make a decision, we were not going to trade Mirko Mueller, Matt Nieto, Thomas Hertl, or a first-round pick. We made that crystal clear last year, and there were a couple of things we explored, but we're not going to compromise what we had committed to. And we're sitting here today now with that flexibility. We have 3 picks in this draft upcoming. We have the growth of some young players, and believe me, some of these young players will be getting an expanded role in this team, and some of the guys that aren't here will be playing on this team next year.
How did you feel about Dan Boyle's performance?
I'm not going to comment on an individual guy. You know, I need to meet with the guys. The emotions are, we lost, and the responsibility is shared amongst all of us, and it starts with me. You know, Todd talked about some of the issues that he saw and he felt. It's what before who. We'll get to who soon enough.
Doug, can you talk a little about your own role at this point? I know you're evaluating everybody, you know, the team, the players, the coaching staff. Do you feel your role is also being evaluated?
Absolutely, and it should be. What needs to be done for this organization is what's right for the organization. Nobody is bigger in this organization. We put a plan in place a year ago. We've talked about it 6 months ago. We now have some very critical decisions to make. They will be made. But again, it'll be what's right for this organization. This organization, this ownership group, and our fans deserve that.